I'm going to start by agreeing with the young woman at the back in terms of the nature of the discussions and the contributions. And I made a similar point at the meeting in London just over a week ago. In fact, both good discussions, but if we want, as whether it's you define yourself as a communist, a Marxist, an anarchist, I don't know, if we want to relate to ordinary people out there, I feel that we have to actually try to sort of self-criticise the way that we speak and address and what the purpose of historical analogies and so on are. Because I think that too often we just get sucked into the same old discussion. I don't agree with the comrades that spoke from the communal related organisation. I could discuss Proudhon and Bakunin and, you know, Kropotkin, and I could debate all the anarchists, you know, and we won't agree. We're not going to agree on your interpretation of the Bolshevik Revolution and so on. However, I think we need to try to find a modern idiom to discuss our ideas, whilst I agree with Tina, we do need to learn from history. We do need to look, for example, at the split in the, you know, the biggest communist party in the European world, 1.5 million people in the Italian Communist Party, you know, informed by Stalinism, informed by a bastardization of Marxism, you know, the replication of what's going on in the Soviet Union. A split from that, I went to the Rifondazione Congress in 2003, representing the Socialist Alliance. Absolutely amazing mass party rally with Bertinotti, who was the leader, fantastic orator, fantastic speaker. There must have been about 5,000 people in the hall, all communist, Marxist. And what happens? They go into the government and they vote for participating in the war in Afghanistan. Right? So the point is that the political programme, which is criticised, the political programme that lessons, we do need to discuss that and see what went wrong. So that's important. So we need to try and find a way of relating that to what's going on now and learn those lessons from the past to apply them to today. On the other hand, I think there is also, within the left, I've used this analogy before, I don't know how well it works, but if you look at the British left, and I've just been introduced to a new, I'm going to say a new Finch, all right? I don't know about yours. I'm not picking on you, Basti, all right? But it's sort of like Darwinian, you know, natural selection. So you've got, say, the Galapagos Islands, right? And you've got these creatures, whether they're birds or turtles and so on, and they all develop on their separate islands, and they just reproduce the same traits, and they never cross-relate or, you know, interact with one another. And so you get, you know, one turtle over here develops this, you know, and another turtle over there develops this. And really what we need to try to do is pull the archipelago together and actually have reasoned, rational, comradely, patient debate and discussion. Because frankly, what separates out socialists from one another is not a lot. A lot of it is tactical. We split over tactics. We split over activity. We split sometimes on strategy if anybody gives a moment's thought to strategy. And actually, most of the things which are the cause of splits and separation could be resolved in a bigger organisation. Now, I wasn't counterposing the question of a mass socialist party to the here and now. Well, I suppose I wasn't. I was saying this is where we are, that's where we need to get to. I think that's the reality. I don't agree with people that say your mass party will never happen, because what I'd like to hear is if we do not have an organisation that is capable of organising the working class who are going to self-emancipate, they organise it themselves. If we can't actually create that, then what is going to happen? There's going to be a sort of spontaneous effervescence whereby, you know, autonomous groups here and there at the same time bring about a change in society. I just don't see it. I just do not see it at all. There has to be organisation. I agree with Lee. We are a long, long way away from that. Why? Well, our ideas have been set back. Working class organisations have been set back. They need to be rebuilt. Even in the question of the trade unions in Britain, trade unions, I think it's only 13% of workers in the private sector are organised in trade unions. That's a massive setback in terms of working class organisation. We're talking about the self-emancipation of society, self-emancipation of the working class to create a new society. Working class people have to be involved in organising, in politics, in running things, in getting the experience in order that they can run the new society and they're not dependent on the intellectuals and the higher-ups in the present society. And again, so the retreat from politics that you see in one manifestation is not a good thing. But all of the existing parties represent one ideology, and that's a capitalist ideology. Of course there are differences between them. Within the capitalist class there have always been differences. But, you know, you look at this crisis, UKIP rising, right, to the right of the Tory party, probably win quite a number of European seats, might at some stage win some parliamentary seats and so on. Where's the same process taking place on the left? Now people say, oh, it never happened. Oh, okay. I'll go, you know, I can read economics and theory and history. I don't like particularly gardening. I'll probably just carry on reading. But it's hard. It's hard. What we need amongst socialists, surely, is a sense of proportion and a sense of perspective. And the perspective is, if we do nothing, the steamroller carries on going. That's the first thing. So that should drive people to a conclusion. There's a sense of proportion. Is the insularity of our particular group more important than the needs of the class? Okay? And I'm not saying that the answer is just for all the left to get together. I think that's part of the answer. But it needs to try to work out a way of living the struggle, breathing the struggle, and participating in the struggle to create that mass party. And we need to have, I agree actually with the comrades that were speaking about, if you like, more discussion, more thought. We need both action and thought, action and theory. We need to bring the two. You can't have one without the other. You can't have the other without the one. You've got to have the two. There's got to be a purpose to your discussion. But mindless activity, if it's simply meeting once a week or once a month to discuss the next picket or the next demonstration or who's going to make the next placard, essentially we're not even bees going from flower to flower because we're not actually producing anything. It's just making us feel good. And actually, a lot of the time, it doesn't make us feel good because there's no end point. So we have to try to link the day-to-day struggle and the day-to-day activity with a strategic political objective. What is that political objective? I agree, you know, that the whole question is about taking political power. The answer is political. And so the organisation flows from that strategic goal. We have to have that ultimate goal. And so the lessons, if you like, of the 19th century German Social Democratic Party are of importance. Actually, the German Social Democratic Party was actually, compared to what we have now, fantastic! Give me any day over what we've got now. But let's also learn the lessons of it. Let's look at the dominance of some of the trade union leaders in it and some of the trade union attitude that they brought into the SPD. Let's look at the parliamentary aspect that informed some of the leaders and so on. But also let's look at some of the grassroots organisations that Tina was talking about. They're marvellous. And, you know, so you go back, the end goal was debate in the 1880s, 1890s over reformism, revisionism, and Bernstein, you know, he said, the end result, the goal is nothing, the road is everything. That could sum up the left now, actually. Doesn't really, we've forgotten about socialism. All we're doing is the activity as socialists. So we need to bring the two together, strategic thinking. And part of that strategic thinking, however difficult it is, or however difficult it might be, the main part of that strategy has to be to build a party. Not a new Labour Party, not a a new version of the Labour Party, not replicating what we had before, but a party that advocates socialism. That I think it has to have a programme. I think the comrade must have misunderstood me who spoke from Workers' Liberty. I'm not against it. I think we need a programme. I don't think you can just suck one out of your thumb. You've got to debate it, you've got to discuss it. But we have no party that says, for example, the minimum programme. We have no party in Britain that says this far and no further. Right? Draw a line in the sand. We're not going to retreat any further. No party says that. That's one basic minimum. The maximum, of course, is fundamental change in the way society is organised. Need not profit. The programme to get there can be debated, and I'm sure everybody in this room has got some contribution to make to that. And I certainly would. But it's an understanding that we need that party. It's central to this discussion.